Hey, 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 everybody. It is I, DJ Maya. I am back again. This is another Friday night podcast. This is the Mad Chatter Show. And for those of you who are listening on the radio, you are tuned into WVEWLP 107.7 FM, Brattleboro's Community Radio. And those of you who are tuned in online all over the place, blessings and infinite love to you. Thank you so much for tuning in. You have tuned into WVEW.org. Please check out the website, send a nice fat donation. We love it. Thanks for the support. And tonight, I have another guest for you. This is an interview that I am super excited to be bringing to you guys. You're going to love this. I met him online, Facebook. Thank you, Facebook, for making connections. So I want to introduce to you Frank. Frank, how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Below.
Buelow, Frank Buelow. Welcome to my podcast. I would love for you to, share who you are, and also you can throw out your links as well at the beginning, and then we'll do it again at the end, so that way people can start to listen in and look while we're listening, because they're going to be watching this on my YouTube channel and SOSQHT and the radio station and many other places. So, Frank, welcome to my show. Thank you.
Thank you
How
very
are
much for
you?
having me. I appreciate it. It's been really nice getting to know you so far, so this is going to be great. I'm really excited about it. You can find me at belowwellness.com. You can also find us on Facebook under Below Wellness, as well as on Instagram. Uh, YouTube is coming, but not
Mhm.
quite there yet. So it'll be there pretty soon.
Awesome. Wonderful. So, thank you so much for joining me. Would you love to share with our listeners who you are, what you do,
Yeah.
and however else you'd like to put it together? It's totally up to you. It's your show. Take it away.
Sounds great. So, like Maya said, my name is Frank Buelow. I'm coming to you with in central Wisconsin, actually, with my wife and I have a business called Below Wellness. We started that in 2020, and now we help people through so many different things. It's kind of hard to describe, but really what we do is we bring people into conscious living. And so, we have had quite a journey going through different health issues, losing our health completely, being off of work for an entire year, declaring bankruptcy, and really rebuilding our health to what it is now. I used to weigh almost 300 pounds. Now I'm right around 190 or so. But that's not what we try to put out there to people. It's not about the weight loss. It's about being healthy. It's about living your life consciously. It's about really understanding who you are and representing yourself fully as being a part of Source and a part of being God in just living your life here on earth. We're all represented that way. We are all a part of the same whole. And ultimately, that's what we try and do is try and get people into understanding who they are so that they can live their life more fully in the respect that they want to. Understand that they aren't just insignificant, which is where most of us find ourselves so often. So we do that in just a plethora of different ways. My wife is a registered nurse. She worked ICU. She worked med surg. She knows a lot about different medications and about different things that people put into their body that just are not healthy for you. Um, Unfortunately, I know some people really absolutely have to have those things for different things. However, my wife has helped people get through different autoimmune disorders using food and supplementation. Those are things that doctors say just aren't possible. They are supposed to be on medications for the rest of their lives. However, that's not true. So you just have to go to the right people so that you can figure out what is going to be right for you. We're all unique and we all walk this journey alone. We find somebody to walk it with. And that's where we come into play.
That is beautiful. I love that. So, What are some of your typical clients that come to you, would you say? I know there's probably all walks of life, but what would you say? So for the listeners who are like, oh, that's like me, I could do that.
A lot of times they're clients just like we were, which is, going to the physicians or going to doctors and really coming up with the same answer. Oh, well, we can put you on this medication, or we can increase this dosage of medication. You keep on trying all of these different things that just aren't working for you. You just don't feel right. You don't feel good about your life. You don't feel good about when you get up in the morning. It's just a struggle. So that's kind of where we found ourselves, and we didn't really have any place that we could turn for quite a long time, and kept on going down and down and down until we just couldn't get up anymore. So it's usually those people that have been struggling for quite a while to find the answers that they're looking for and find the help that they're looking for. So it could be anything from people that are looking for spiritual assistance. So we
Mhm.
help people spiritually all the time. I do QHHT and BQH, which are quantum healing sessions. So I know Maya talks about that, I'm sure, quite frequently. It's an amazing modality that helps people break through into areas that they never thought were possible, do things that they thought were never possible. Sorry, I get kind of choked up. I'm also an empath, so if I start breaking up and kind of, you know, start crying a little bit, it's because I feel so deeply about what I'm talking about.
I go through the
So,
same
right?
thing. It's okay.
So,
Sending you love.
so people that really they're struggling to find answers, and they're struggling to keep their head above water, and they just really need assistance. So we
Yes.
do Reiki as well. My wife and I both are Karuna masters. Um, so as a matter of fact, I know Maya and I were talking about this. We were out in Sedona when everything was shutting down for the whole pandemic, and that was just a really interesting time. But during that, my consciousness expanded so much. Oh my gosh! After we got home, one of the things that the master instructor said was to put something out there now, put it out there, source, as a question, so that you can get the answer. Oh my gosh, it was a week after I did that because we were driving through Sedona, the really scenic drive between Sedona and Flagstaff. And I just put it out there. I'm like, okay, so what exactly is going to happen? Am I going to be safe during this whole COVID thing? Oh my gosh, a week later, I kind of fell to my knees because Source came to me with an answer of a lot of people are going to perish, a lot of people are going to lose their lives, but you are not going to have that come to you. I'm like, oh my God. But that alone was just such an eye-opening experience. And since then, I definitely have a lot more communication, a lot more open channeling, and a lot more assistance with so many different things for others. So when I have quantum healing sessions, it's just amazing the information that comes through and the support and the love. Wow, just it's a huge blessing for me and for the client.
Yes, that's wonderful. So, how long did you say how long you've been doing this? I know we talked about this before, but did the listeners get to hear when you started to doing the hypnosis healing part
Uh,
aspect of it?
let's see. So I started with Ericksonian hypnosis in 2018. Quantum healing, I started in 2023, and BQH in 2024, which is basically an add-on and kind of a help to quantum healing, I feel. It really changed things up for me, opened a lot more things up. I can bring in a lot of different modalities to my sessions, which just intensify and enhances the session.
Yes. Do you work with crystals in your session?
A little. I, I I tried to kind of elevate myself a little bit more with just understanding and resonating with the vibration of the stones,
Uh-huh.
more so than using them in the sessions. I have actually this last weekend, I was using just petrified wood alone just to help ground and to kind of
Wow.
give that person the understanding of how that can help just take down their anxiety to a level that's a little bit more acceptable if they have something that, because somebody had situational anxiety where when they were going to go into public and because they're not exactly a celebrity, but per se, but they're a celebrity in certain environments. So when he was going to go to a specific function, he started getting anxious because he's looked at as a celebrity. So if you hold on to your petrified wood, you can bring your energy down and make sure that you're grounded into the earth. It's very helpful just to have that in your pocket.
Oh, nice. I've never heard of that. That makes total sense. That's awesome. That is so cool. Ironically, I have a ring that my brother gave me that's with petrified wood
Beautiful.
from
That's
Maui.
awesome. Very nice.
And I keep it on my index finger, even though I'm supposed to put it on my thumb, which it keeps you grounded.
Oh,
But
very nice.
I go back and forth. Some and each finger. Do you know about the fingers and which placements they represent? Have you learned that part?
No, I haven't studied that at all.
I don't remember off the top of my head, but I do know the thumbs are grounding. And so, if you notice certain people, though, like people who do like magic, like witches, like they know about the rings and stuff. So you'll see they have rings all over their fingers
All
and
over,
stuff,
yeah.
and it's for a reason to
Beautiful.
have. You're so actually all of these rings you're supposed to have, and I didn't know that, but like different jewels like emeralds and rubies. And ironically, my first engagement ring was a emerald for my husband. And I'm like, oh, well, he must have known. How did he know? With the copper. And I was like, okay, we won't wear that very long, but I get it. It's a copper, changes the colors. Um, Ironically, I was walking in the woods. I have to show you this. So for people who get to see the video, they get to see this. The listeners won't get to see this. But so I was walking in the woods one day and I was called to grab a piece of wood. And then I was told to adorn it with crystals. And I don't know if you could see that, but
Wow.
there's it's a it's a
That's
dagger and I've got crystals embedded in it. And when I am in my sessions, the elementals, they love it. They're like, "We love your dagger." And I'm like, "Oh, you can see it?" Okay. Um, and the
that's
fairies said that they were the ones that gave me the dagger. They were like, "Yeah, you're strong-willed. We tried to turn your head, but you were like fighting us." But I heard it. I heard like there's a dagger, and I was like, "What?" So so what about you? What type of besides an empath, and let's talk a little bit about that because I'm an empath too. I get it. Um, what other clairs have opened up for you?
oh man. Um, I haven't studied the clairs to be exactly 100% knowledgeable. Um, I guess there's been a lot of different things that I've had over the years that I didn't associate with being a gift. I just associated that it's just me. That's just something. So
Mhm.
I can touch people and shift their mood. So that's one thing. I mean, whether that's an empathic gift or whatnot, I'm not sure. Um, it's really weird, but that's been pretty easy. Um, Being able to connect and download knowledge from others. So not that it actually comes in and it's then mine, but in the moment, it's just easy. It's easy to build rapport with people. So if I'm in the front of a group talking, then I can easily pick and choose the information that I want based on the people that are in the group, because I can connect with their understanding of things and knowledge. Um,
Wow.
so I do get downloads. I get information, connection. that comes through, especially the more connected that I am for the session. So when I go through for quantum healing, I make sure that I connect mine and the client's higher selves. And so that information is quite readily available to me. So I don't know about you, but I mean, even during the session, it's very easy to follow what is happening with them.
Yes.
So, they can describe what's going on, and it's easy to form the vision that they're experiencing.
I
Um,
sometimes know what they're seeing before they even see it.
oh, yeah, yep,
Like I'll just get this sense. So so let me see. As far as like your clairs, when you receive information,
audience.
um, it's how you receive it. So sometimes for me, I've gotten visions where I've
Okay.
blinked my eye and I'm in the future or I'm in another scene and then I blink my eye again and I'm back in my body. Like that freaks me out. But I've had that's happened to me. I've had dreams where it could have been like outer body experience, but it was a dream, but it
Yep.
was like an outer body experience because I've caught like two of my boyfriends cheating on me in my dreams, like got out of my body and woke up at 3:33 in the morning and then got out of my house and followed the dream and it was just like in the dream. And I
Wow.
was like, "What? Why?" And I didn't even get mad. I was like, "Okay, bye." You know?
Have you ever heard of Robert Moss before?
No, Robert Moss?
Robert Moss. He's got a whole CD. Well, I don't know, a collection of CDs that form his training. Basically, I think it was in the 70s. He was in Australia. He was growing up there as a boy. Um, and he started having dreams. And the Aborigines basically discussed how dreams work and um, told him or taught him how to control dreams and be active, an active dreamer inside the dream. I met a gentleman, his name is Mark Thomas, who lives down in Louisiana. And Mark dreams for other people. So we've got a few similarities, and that's how we connected. Dreams are one of them. So when I was a child, one night I had a dream about the abominable snowman from the kids' cartoon, right?
Yep.
So I was walking in this on this snowy mountain, and all of a sudden the abominable snowman comes up and scares the crap out of me. And so I wake up and I'm screaming. My mom comes in, she kind of settles me down. So I go back to sleep. Boom, same exact dream. Same exact response. I wake up, I'm screaming my head off. My mom comes in, settles me down. And I can't remember if it was then the next night that I had the same dream or the same night. Again, I have the same exact dream. But something my mom
Wow.
said on the second one shifted something. And so I realized that there was something that I could do where I'm having this repetitive dream. I can actually go in and I can be an active participant. So I shifted things and I basically didn't get frightened. I asked the abominable snowman why keeps doing this to me. And he's like, I just want to play. I just don't know how. So we wandered off and we became friends. That was the end of the dream. Never had any more dreams like it. But ultimately, that's it. So we're going to get into a little bit of a bigger understanding. So we're all one, correct? We had this discussion before, right? So everybody is a mirror image of me. Okay, so every time that I'm having a discussion, including this one, I'm talking to myself. Okay, so you can think about that in public, you can think about that wherever you want. Every time you're having a discussion, you're having it with yourself. A dream is just like reality, it's just in a different state. It's almost like going to the spirit realm. So here, having a discussion here or being in proximity of all these things, you have that tactile experience where in the spirit realm you don't. Same thing that happens in the dream realm. They're still you, but you're just trying to overcome fear or whatever resistance you have on multiple levels within that dream realm because you're not going to get hurt. You're not going to lose your life. Things aren't going to shift or change in the reality based on what happens in the dream realm. So it's a much easier landscape to adjust those things that you need to adjust so that you can come back in your everyday life and have that shift.
Mm. Yes, absolutely. It sounds like that you met a Yeti. It sounds like one of the sessions I did, this guy went back to Atlantis and he said the people from Lumeria, they look like abominable snowmen. They were Yetis. They were big white furry Bigfoot people with big blue eyes, and they were friendly, but they were spooky, and so people didn't they wouldn't they didn't mingle with the regular people. They stayed with the elementals and they stayed by themselves in Lemuria, where um people just they were spooked by them because they were Yetis. But apparently Yetis and Bigfoot, they're all the same family. I had a session I did with a teenager, with a kid, and he wanted to know about his dream. Why was Superman coming into his dreams? And so I did a hypnosis session for him, and come to find out, his higher self said that the dream state is the second dimension. And so what happens is they slip through the dimension into our dimension through our dreams.
Oh.
And so also we go through, when we're dreaming, we're traveling and we're living multidimensional lives. So it also depends on which channel you're tuned into, because it could either be another life somewhere else that you're experiencing, whether it's whatever it is, right? You're still experiencing it. Or is it a memory from another time? You
Right.
never know. You just
Or a
never know.
premonition.
Yeah,
Yep.
it could be
Yeah.
anything. It's endless possibilities, right?
Yep. Yep.
But the one thing I did hear is the second dimension. And I'm like, the second dimension. That's interesting.
That is
So when
pretty.
we sleep, we're in the third, we're sleeping, we're going into the second dimension, which is like a portal, a gateway, or whatever to other dimensions. Because in my dreams, I'm always on spaceships. I don't know about you, but in my dreams,
Oh, I go all
since
over. Yeah. I go all over all different types of scenarios, man. It's
you,
yeah, different
I love dreams.
realities. It's pretty wild. Yeah. Yeah, I
What
had
are some
one.
of your favorite ones? I love to hear about dreams.
So one, I don't know if it's really one of my favorites. Um, but I'm pretty sure that I was down in Chicago and using walkie-talkie, weirdly enough, and um, we were taking down the power grid because society had gotten to a point that they just decided that electricity was just not good for society. It was not good for where we were headed. And so I was on this walkie-talkie, and then all of a sudden everything went black, and that's when I woke up. But I talked with a medium friend, and he said, "Yeah." He goes, "No, that's probably about 100 years from now." And I'm like, "Okay, all right, that's pretty interesting." Um,
Whoa.
uh,
So, you know, I was told that electricity, all these people with their electric cars, every time we plug into electricity into the grid, we are harming. We are like putting needles into Earth Gaia, that it harms her.
yeah,
The electricity is the Archon grid. That's the negative agenda, the negative aliens. That's what they use to harness. They took over the original grids and they placed their own grids. So we have to break down these grids. That's what we have grid workers now, that we have to go to these cities and these towns and send love and energy and clearing and all this stuff to clear the lands and stuff. That's part of the work that I do, the grid work. So if you're doing that in your dream,
right,
you're doing it somewhere in the future.
yep,
So one of my crews, my that I had my Cosmic Crusader cruise, one of my cadets did a regression, found out he's part of the super space program for the future.
okay,
And I was the commander and I was teaching people how to quantum jump, and this was in the future,
Nice.
after the old fell, and people are learning how to function, so we have to teach them about how to use their new abilities and stuff. And we're a team. So my friend was taking a nap real quick. He was taking a nap. He woke up. He was like, "Oh my God, I feel like I got beat up. I feel like my nose broke. I feel like, and so I put him under hypnosis, found out that he was, went back into his dream because he remembered the dream. And he had got blown up by a gray ship because he was rewiring the technology there, because we were taking over the moon again and redoing the technology. And oh, yo, it was insane. It's on my YouTube page, but
That's,
you could be part of that
oh
program
no, that
that's helping
very
with
possible.
positive technology, and you're dismantling the old stuff. That's what we saw in one of my sessions. How ironic if that would be if you or one of my crew members.
Me,
Like
maybe
I
how we
said,
connect, you never know.
instead of saying 6 degrees of separation, six degrees of dimensions or something, I don't know. Like, we're
Everyone,
all connected somehow, some way. Um,
absolutely.
but also I wanted to say, you said something about the Aborigines. Have you
Yeah,
found out their story yet? I that's one people I haven't been able to find out where their puzzle piece is. Like,
I'm not quite sure. I guess how I understand only a small snippet is how they are so connected to each other. Like if we are talking about a collective consciousness, they as people are so collectively conscious that the way that it was described, especially for Robert Moss, was that the Aborigines can have a council meeting and one of the members may have been missing, okay, not able to make the meeting, right? So basically one of them will be there and then they'll meet up afterwards and create a holographic image with their mind for the other person to come in and to basically experience the meeting.
mm, sounds like they're a little bit more highly evolved than we know.
Absolutely. So as much
Interesting.
as, right, as much as we feel like, we as a society are so advanced, we we don't even come close to anything like that, at least on the base level of your neighbors, being able to connect with you on that sort of level. Not even close.
Well, I don't know. I wonder about some of these Buddhist monks
Well, oh, absolutely.
in
I've
Tibet.
definitely heard stories. There was a person that did remote viewing, and he actually studied with the monks down in the Milwaukee area. And apparently, that those monks, they would actually pray for food. They would see a squirrel. That squirrel would then drop out of the tree and die, because they were so hungry that they needed some food, and God granted them the food. The squirrel gave his life for them
Yep.
to eat. But that's how connected they are to everything that there is because of what they choose to do their time with. So it's pretty
Wow.
amazing. It's just ridiculous. The more stories, the more things that you get into when you start expanding your group of friends, and not sit in the idle chit chat of superficial stuff, when you really get down into how people function and what they think about and what their um, experiences are. It's pretty
Hmm.
amazing. So
Have you been to any sacred sites, or I heard you mention Sedona.
yes.
Have you been to these places like Mount Shasta and other places like that?
We just went through a lot of the different sites in Sedona. I haven't really been to very many sites outside of that. We travel more locally than we do abroad as much.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, Sedona was pretty much it.
Did
I
you
would.
have anything magical happen there?
Oh, jeez. Hmm. Magical? No. Kind of par for the course. A lot more opening up consciously. Just connecting with nature a lot more. Like I said, I mean, when we were out there for the week, it just incrementally every single day things were getting slimmer and slimmer. Less people were around because everything was closing for the pandemic. So that's when I like when we flew back from Sedona, we went through Chicago. So Sedona to Chicago, Chicago to Milwaukee, and I think we had 13 people on our flight into Chicago. I mean, if you can imagine that. I mean, now you
Wow.
basically are getting, laid over into the next flight a lot of times because they overbook. But yeah, 13 people. The O'Hare Airport was empty. That's what was kind of going on then. But yeah, it was really just amazing going to the vortexes and feeling the energy in Sedona. We went back again. I think it was in 2023, just for a day. We spent some time in Arizona, and that was just great. Going up to the airport mesa was amazing. The views from up there is just astronomical. If you have you been out into Sedona?
I have not been to Sedona. I've driven through Arizona many times. Why I've never stopped in Sedona, I don't know.
The
Is it off the highway anywhere, or is it out of the way?
Yeah, it is a little bit off the highway, off the main drag. But I have to suggest that if you do go up to Flagstaff, fly into Flagstaff, and take the scenic drive down into Sedona, it is one of the most gorgeous drives that I've ever been a part of.
Oh,
But
wow.
you leave Flagstaff, and before you actually get to the scenic drive, it's just kind of it's nice. There's a lot of trees around, and then all of a sudden, it's like a roller coaster. You get to this spot and there's no road in front of you, it feels like, and there's just mountains. And then you just drop, and then
Mm,
just this winding road. Oh, it's just gorgeous. And you just feel so small. You just
wow.
understand where you are in relation to everything around you. It's just blissful.
Mm,
So,
wow. That's amazing. Um, I was told that in the Grand Canyon, there's secrets there, that there's caves there, there's a lot of secret information there. And I was told that when creation happened, as they say, the Garden of Eden, so to speak,
mm,
it was all connected. All the land was connected. It was all connected, and that is why there's stuff in the Grand Canyon and there's stuff on all these continents. And they said it all happened at the same time, that it was all laid out at the same time, that there was no one place. Like me and my husband argue. He's always like, Africa was the first place, honey, not just Africa. Like it was all connected. Um, but I found that interesting. I was like,
yeah,
I can deal with that.
yeah.
It makes
There,
more sense.
have you heard about different places in Ohio also?
Oh, you mean the mounds?
Yeah, I think that might be right.
The giant mounds of,
Yeah, I
yeah.
mean, they're finding different things all over this continent, whether it's North
Hmm.
America, South America. There's definitely different anomalies of locations where they're saying that there were structures that predate things that they're saying now are the origin, basically, of. So
Yes.
yeah, so many different things that are coming
Yes.
finally.
I like the information that comes through. I ask tons of questions in my session. So what I do is and I wonder what people think about this, but
Yeah,
I have my own way of doing things.
hell yeah,
And
right?
so I asked the client, like, what's your story? What's going on in your life, so I can understand where the person's coming from. And then I asked them, well, are there any time periods that you've always felt drawn to or called to? Because this also could play a part in certain things, like Egypt. People are obsessed with Egypt. Okay, well, then you probably have some life there that you need to find out. So I just kind of get a little blueprint of where they are in their head. And then in the session, I start acclimating them, and then I let the magic unfold. And I like to have them go into the water because a lot of times I can find out if a person is a mermaid or a
Mhm.
mer person. If they hit the water, they turn into a fish. So I love showing people, and it's just something that kind of just started happening in my sessions. I didn't
Yeah.
even mean for it to happen. It just kind of started happening. And I'm like, okay, let's just go with it. And I've found a lot of people, their story starts before it even starts.
Yeah.
Before I can get them where I need to get them, they're already experiencing stuff. They're like, oh my God, I'm a merman and I'm going down into Atlantis. And, I'm like, wait, hold on. I need to know how are you traveling? Um, but I just find that in these sessions, a lot of times I'm able to ask more questions. So if they go somewhere, I can, ask other questions about anything because you never know what the information is going to be. And then I have their questions, so I can always look and incorporate their questions, and wherever they are, they're going to get the information.
Right.
And then I double check it with the higher self. I'm like, was this accurate? Like, what was going on here? But I've gotten a lot of information that way, about like what's going on in current status and stuff like
Yep.
that. I've connected with a lot of alien races. The Anunnaki seem to be coming through a lot, and the Pleiadians. Have you connected with any particular star people, star families, or like the Galactic
Uh,
Federation? Some people you know.
Arcturians, Arcturians
Oh
in,
yeah,
yep, in one session for sure. I was alien in one of my past lives or future lives, whatever that actually turned out to be.
right.
Um, and beyond that, well, a dragon, somebody actually, incarnated as a dragon. Um, that was a very interesting session.
Was it?
Yeah, that was really interesting because she was connecting with the human race. And this would have been the first time in a really long time for the connection between dragons and humans had actually taken dragons and subdued them and pushed them back so that they were not a part of reality or life on Earth. And this was a reconnection between the dragon race and the human race so that we could live in harmony. So that was pretty amazing. Um, yeah, quite eye-opening, the different things that you experience through your clients, as
Yeah.
far as whatever it is, if it's a multidimensional thing, if it's past lifetime that has influenced this reality somehow, which is another thing. I mean, uh, that's pretty amazing, I feel, and very I don't know, worthy of mention, I guess. I had somebody that had been in Greece and she had been in a woman's retreat, a goddess retreat, and had been having an amazing time. And then they went to a couple of temples and she just started feeling really anxious, angry, sad, all of these things all at once. And through the window, she saw that there was a dead body of a woman on the floor of one of the temples. And she connected so severely with this person. And it was her. Find out that's why she came, or she wanted to understand what that was about. But that was her in that lifetime, and she was a healer, and she used natural herbs and remedies to help the community out. And this group of men had come through with their own remedies, and they wanted her to back them, and she said no. And well, apparently they lured her to the temple and gave her an ultimatum. Well, we're going to give you another shot. You can back us? No. So like 5 of them actually killed her in
Mm.
that space. But it translated into this environment here in this reality because she's doing something similar and she's bringing plant medicine to the community, and she needed to step into her power and connect with that individual's belief system and connect with their strength and what they actually resonated as, so that she could bring that forward, so she had the strength to push forward with what she was doing so that she could help so many people here. So things like that are
Wow.
just so powerful and amazing that we get to be a part of it, that we get to help, that we guide them through. I mean, granted, it's their experience, it's their knowledge, it's them connecting with their higher self and getting all of this information and all of these answers. We get it firsthand also. Ridiculously awesome. So yeah, she
Yes.
had another one too right after that. So take her from one death, and then she's instantly taken into another space where she's tied up, and they're looking to sacrifice, and she wasn't chosen, luckily. So she got away with that, but she instantly started crying when she was there tied up. But she was sold off into slavery and kept as a sex slave in a tower. And she wasn't around anyone else. She was only able to get food from somebody that would bring it. And then the owner of the castle basically was the one that kept her as a sex slave. And then she finally broke free from him. She formed a plan. It took her about 15 years, but she formed a plan, beat him over the head with her pea pot, and escaped. She didn't know
I
it was
was
on the
gonna
other
say,
side of it. Yeah,
did she grow her hair out like 50 feet and throw it out the window?
right. Yeah, right. Right. Yeah, it's the real Rapunzel.
Gosh. No
But yeah,
way.
and also with that though, I mean, she didn't know what was on the other side. She didn't know how to get out of the castle. She didn't know any of those things. So it ultimately, for me, it translates into so many different people being caged in into whatever it is. Either it's a cage that somebody else has placed on you, or the cage that you place on yourself. But you just have to take the leap of faith and formulate a plan and break free. Move forward, go off into whatever it is you feel like you can do and experience life, experience those things beyond that limited understanding of where you're at. So I thought that was, ridiculously awesome. She went on and she had quite an interesting life after getting into tarot, getting into just a whole bunch of different things that she traveled around the country doing, getting involved with different people. But it was really kind of an amazing experience to be a part of. So universal
Mm.
message too, which I really appreciate.
Yes, ironically, one of my early sessions, I had a client that was a dragon as well.
Yeah.
She was a dragon princess from planet Zyborg, and she was a purple dragon, and she wanted to get answers for her siblings. But long story short, what I found was interesting. Um, she had mentioned how humans and the dragons, how they didn't communicate with each other and stuff. And then in another session I did with another guy, he was in Atlantis, um, but it was ancient Peru. So you see how it's still connected.
Oh,
His
sure. Yep.
location was
Yep.
Peru, but he called it Atlantis, but
Yep.
he was in Peru. So, um, and they said it was all connected. And so, he found out that when the reptilians came in through the people and started hijacking like they do now, when they came in and started taking over through greed, jealousy, all these lower vibration, because they dropped the frequency. So when they came in and they started infiltrating, um, they were sacrificing the dragons.
Oh.
And so in one of my sessions, this guy, his lover, queen, I don't know who she was, but she handed him a chalice and said, drink this and become one of us. And it was his dragon's heart. It was her dragon's heart. She sacrificed her own dragon.
Oh.
And she wanted him to sacrifice his, but he wouldn't. So they stole his dragon,
Ah.
the Dark Council. And so I said, well, let's rescue him. And so we actually rescued him, and his dragon was so happy. He was like, "Oh my God, it's been eons since I've seen you." And so he was crying and reunited with his dragon. And I was like, I had no idea we could even do that.
Mm.
So I started just like thinking outside of the
Oh
box,
yeah. Yeah.
started thinking, well, we can change timelines, you
Yep.
know. So when I find people in certain situations, I say, well, can we switch it up? And sometimes we rewrite their story, you
Yep.
know. And I say, well, how did that work out for you? And they're like, well, they give an opinion. Well, it was better, but it was the same, but so
I do that a lot with people that have lost loved ones, and they didn't get to say goodbye, or they have an experience that they kind of want to correct. Where one she was downstairs when her father passed away. And so obviously we can take people through as an observer type role. And so she was able to actually go into the room while he was passing and hug him and have an experience before he passed. So that's really therapeutic, as well as like animals. I mean, so many different people that have passed animals. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. I mean, they're the first ones there. They're the first ones to see him if we cross them over the spirit side. Absolutely. So yeah, those moments are.
You know, in my sessions now, I
Mm,
have a few tricks up my sleeve. I have a fire ceremony at the beginning, and I say, if any of your loved ones want to come forward
yeah,
and talk to you, now would be a good time. And I say, if they're going to show up, there's going to be seats there. And sometimes there's a whole um, bleachers and filled with ancestors will show up. I've done ancestral healing because they show up because they know they can get healing. So we put bubbles of love around everybody, and they go away. They're like, "Thank you, we just came for that."
yep,
Um, Also, like, I have their animals show up to connect with them as well. And sometimes they show up as who they are, or they show up as their true form. Sometimes
yeah,
they're giant angels, sometimes they're giant dragons. Like, you just never know how they're going to show up. Um, my favorite part is, though, um, at any point of time in their session, if they set the intention to connect with the loved one, they can meet them in heaven, or they can meet them wherever they are. Recently, what I'm finding out is a lot of people who have committed suicide or things like that, and they're stuck. We can go find them. I bring in Jesus, Yeshua. He comes in, he does some healing and levels them up so that they don't have to come back into a lower role. And
yep,
so I'm finding that even on the other side, we can still help. And so
yes,
I've done that quite a few times now. Every chance I get, I'm like, okay, well, let's see what we could do here. Um, and then like I'll bring in like their mother to witness it, even though she's alive. I'm like, let's bring her higher self in to witness it with you guys, and they'll all be hugging and witnessing, and I'll give them a reunion. And I'm like, it's going to be downloaded in her subconscious, it'll be there. And then they're like, oh, she's already going to know.
yeah,
And so the higher self is already like helping.
right.
So yeah,
Well, and
I've really just started, and sometimes they just do it for me. They just show up in unexpected places. I'm like, oh, what are they doing here? We didn't call them in. And they're like, well, no, we're here. We have a message, you know? So that's my favorite part is letting people know, because a lot of times when people have grief and of losing loved ones, they grow an entity attachment. A dark entity will attach them because heartbreak is one of the biggest, like, that's the strongest ones. That feeling attracts the opposite frequency, so you're gonna get something attached. So a lot of times I find that people have attachments, and we call it Mother Sophia or the Gaia or the Phoenix, and they burn all these. So anything that is a thought form, an attachment that has never lived a life, you can get rid of with fire, with
okay,
source love light. Anything that has a soul, that has a consciousness, you can talk to it. If it's never lived a life, you can get rid of it. If it lived a life, you have to deal with it with love. So sometimes it takes some time. If I encounter a dark draconian that's like not wanting to budge, I have a positive draconian that I have helped. And so I call her in to talk to him and say, explain to him what's happening right now in the universe. And then they usually come on. So you haven't encountered that kind of stuff yet in BQH, have you?
Not a whole lot, no,
No?
nope, nope.
You should look up aura hypnosis. That will take you down a whole nother rabbit hole if you're ever interested. But I love it, because these entities are attached to many other people.
Oh yeah.
And so when you release them, all these people are starting to wake up like, what happened to me? And so that's why I do it. I do it because of the troubles and traumas that I went through in my life and what was leading me to jump. And now I can help people. Like, we don't have to listen to that voice. um but have you, when you do your BQH, and you help souls and stuff like that, do you find a lot of attachments on people? Do you look for that?
Um,
Do they?
I I do look for it. A lot of the things that I do, most of the time, it's like going back in, looking for false beliefs for the most part.
Okay.
You know, my most recent session is somebody that she was a minister for 40 years and spinal issues. She's got a lot of deterioration, a lot of problems with shoulders, knees, bladder, just a whole bunch of physical problems. Um, and we were talking about that. We were talking about his childhood. A lot of things just weren't good. No love from parents, nothing like that. Fell on roller skates. That's what happened with her back to begin with. However, she had a neighbor, and this came up during the session. She had a neighbor that said, honey, life is suffering. More suffering, the closer you get to God. And she pulled that in and held on to it and internalized it, and that was her life. So all of the physical suffering that she experienced after that was to gain God's acceptance and love and entry into heaven. And didn't realize that that's just not the way to go. That's not the way to connect with God. That's not. And she was a minister for 40 years. So that was just a big, huge message back to her that, oh my gosh, I've done this to myself, and just really weird. But the other session that I had this weekend was kind of going through different energies that were within the body, associating them with either the person, with an outside person, or with a different energy. But they were all hers, so it wasn't an external. I did a little bit with alien communication, a little bit with alien communication and with one entity attachment. But most of the time for us, I do stuff through Karuna, which is basically a hands-off sort of scenario. So I don't really have the interaction. It's just a big release and allowance to go back to God. So so
Hmm.
I don't get the
Interesting.
interaction. Yeah. And with that
Hmm.
too, a lot of my sessions as far as Reiki go are distance. So as much as I know we were talking about your sessions for quantum have mainly been online, most of my sessions for Reiki are done over distance. So a surrogate session. So, which is amazing. I like that better than actually in person for Reiki. I love QHHT and BQH in person because of the connection that you get with the other person because of their story. And the Reiki, I can actually connect with a person's energy more fully if they're not present.
Mm.
Weird.
Yes,
No.
because you're not messing in their energy field.
Yeah. Yeah. So basically, I just, I use my bear, and that's my surrogate. And it's pretty wild. I've done group sessions too with the bear, and as soon as your intention switches to another person, everything changes on the bear. All the energy changes, but it's pretty pretty ridiculous, man. It's
That's
really amazing
cool.
all of these different modalities, how they all interact, and yet how they're all independently different, and how
Hmm.
they can help somebody depending upon their story, their journey. So, yeah, pretty awesome. I've really enjoyed this whole journey so far. It's well, no, I shouldn't say that. It's been interesting getting to this point, but I'm glad that I've gone through the things that I've gone through. I have the understandings that I have now. I look at life completely different than I used to. So to that end, I'm grateful. Absolutely grateful.
Wonderful. So I'm so glad that you were saying that you and your wife do this. So you have your wife, you have each other to support. I know a lot of times in this us that came through the 2020 era, it wasn't always equal. There was
And
it was really shaky grounds.
yep.
So she's been.
Really? Well, that's her. She's been really amazing to be my partner for so long. We met in high school, so
Mhm.
we've been together for a very long time. She was an ICU nurse, like I said earlier. She also, during COVID, didn't want to work in the hospital. She worked in a nursing home for a very brief stint, but then she became a COVID tracer. So the amazing part about that is we got the inside scoop as to what was going on continuously within the medical system, which is great. So she learned a lot of different things. She helped people out naturally, like with people that were having problems with migraines, people that were having body ache issues, helping with Epsom salts or magnesium chloride, which is one of the products that we sell. That's amazing for people because it helps with a lot of body aches. It helps with a lot of the issues that they were experiencing. But when she finally started looking at her caseload, then the real answers started piling up as to what the shot was actually doing and how it was performing. So a majority of her caseload actually had the shot already. So a majority of the caseload getting COVID after they said that it wasn't possible, yeah, that just kind of opened up our eyes. So that part has been great. The part about having Julie along, of course, is amazing because she is the biggest reason why we are in the position that we are as far as getting our health back. She's amazing. She understands how to help people with food and supplementation and the different changes within the body that you're going through and how to help them. So, and her knowledge base is just astounding. Her brain works so different than mine when it comes to that sort of thing. Um, she is just head and tails above everybody as far as how she understands how the physical body works. I shouldn't say everybody, but I get my understanding. She's my wife. I'm partial. Uh, But that aspect of what we do is great because there are some people that just don't understand the other aspect of what the mind can do and how influential it can be on the physical body. So also people that are so broken down that you've got leaky gut, you've got problems that you can't digest food properly. So many of those things that are coming out, obviously, in my mind, they're stemming from either a past life or they're stemming from things that happened in your life that you're holding on to as a negative experience and you're not listening to the lesson. With her, she can help you build that body back up to a point as well as then come through me and learn what exactly is going on, what you're holding on to that you should be releasing so that your physical body isn't still holding on to that energy so that you can move forward. So we work great as a team. That's why we're still here together. That's why we created the business is to help people move forward in their life because we were there. We didn't have anybody. Tough. It really is. It's tough when you're out there and you're searching for answers and you're not getting any. So it just,
Yes.
it's like getting up and beating your head against the wall. It's just, it's crazy. So
Well, you guys are definitely definitely natural born leaders, and I'm almost 100% certain one of the 144,000, which not all light workers are, from what I was told. But
Right?
as a teacher, as somebody that feels the call to share this information to help people live a better life, I would say, yeah, you sound like it. We just,
Well,
we have to. It's like I'm gonna have to definitely talk to you and your wife. I'm definitely gonna need your guys' services. I've been saying I want to learn more about nutrition and how to eat more healthier and better. I eat healthy already, but I'm not a really good cook, and I need to know about nutrition and how to put stuff together.
right? Yep.
But yeah, that's amazing. I would love to have your wife on next time, and then also I can have you guys back and have you guys together, and you can share more information. I also have a friend that would love to interview you guys as well. So shout out to the Typical Skeptic podcast, Rob. We do a lot of stuff together. I think that his audience would definitely benefit in
Awesome.
listening to you talk, and definitely your wife as well. They're hungry now. I'm finding in my circles that I'm put myself in, they're hungry. The fish
Right?
are moving, they're looking,
Yep.
so
Absolutely understandable.
yeah.
I really do. We go to a lot of different vendor events, and there are a lot of people that are out there, and there's a lot of people that are searching for answers for sure. The only thing that I want to say to people is make sure that you're ready to walk forward because if you're not ready, it's going to hit you upside the head. So make sure that you're ready. But there's people like us that are willing to hold your hand, that are willing to help you, that you can take these steps. You really can.
Yes. Thank you so much for having I'm so happy to have you today, and my listeners for listening. And thank you so much. Definitely follow his links. Go ahead and say again.
So
Shout out your links.
you can find us at belowwellness.com. You can find us on Facebook at Belo Wellness as well as on Instagram, Belo Wellness LLC.
Beautiful. You have been such a delight. Thank you so much for joining. Listeners, thank you for tuning in. You will hear me again next time, same place. It is Friday night, midnight now when you're listening to this. So if you want to catch the replay, it's going to be on my YouTube channel and it'll be on my radio station for 2 weeks. So you can listen in, share it with your friends. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank
You
you,
want to say
Maya.
goodbye to our listeners?
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you very much. Have a great
Bye.
night. Bye.
Yep. And I'm just going to stop recording. Bye, guys.